People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 6 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 18th day of January in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Mac's World Live here on 99.3 every day, 3 to 5. Many ways you can contact us. There's always smoke signals. We always pay attention. Bob stands and looks out the window and tells me what the smoke signals say. That's if they're in the west. If they're in the east, for some reason he can't read smoke signals from the east.
There is carrier pigeons.
244-0077. That's the hotline. That's the studio line. Also on the Service Legends Truth text line at 809-0993. You can text your question and we will read it back. Both are free of charge. They're yours to use. Some of you may know, some of you don't. I am 2,081 days sober. That means I've had almost 6 years of continuous sobriety. I can tell you the whole story sometime, or maybe you can hear it. You can go on my webpage and read a blog called Mugged by Jesus, and that'll talk a little bit about it. But basically, I had no idea what a person in recovery was. In fact, if somebody would have said to me, I'm in recovery, I would have thought they were imagining they were in the hospital. I didn't know. I don't even think I knew anyone who was an alcoholic or a drug addict or someone in recovery. Now, there's many kinds of recovery, and we're going to meet a person today who doesn't have alcohol or drug issues. She's been suffering from codependency all of her life and is now 2 years into a program at Celebrate Recovery at our church, Lutheran Church of Hope, and she is finding a great peace in her life, but she's going to tell you about that story. Ladies and gentlemen, Hope Streeter is her name. Welcome, Hope.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering to be here today.
Happy to.
Is it scary?
No.
No? How come?
I like to speak in public.
Okay.
I used to teach and train at my previous employer, and I do it at Celebrate Recovery. I'm the trainer on the team, so
Good.
I enjoy it.
What does that mean, trainer? You train people so they can publicly speak?
No, I train the small group leaders to rise up and Celebrate Recovery, to host groups. I do teachings for them. We create workshops for individuals that attend Celebrate Recovery.
Okay.
One of the ones that we're getting ready to do is living the 12 steps in your daily life. What's the reality? What does it look like?
Okay. You're a good speaker, too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just from right here, because I met Hope for the first time on Sunday. She came up to me after service, and I was not aware of Hope until just about a week ago. I don't attend Celebrate Recovery. I'm at my church to support the people who run Celebrate Recovery. Therefore, it's easier if I'm not in the program. I'm very involved in a different 12-step program called... well, I'm not supposed to say it, but a different 12-step program. How many categories are there in Celebrate Recovery? Is it endless?
It's endless. If you have a struggle or a habit or something that you're hurt with, there's a group for it.
So if I was sexually assaulted as a child, there's a group for it.
Yes.
If I am divorced, there's a group for it.
Currently at RCR, there's not for divorce, but Lutheran Church of Hope itself has a divorce care group.
Yeah, right. So it's not just drugs and alcohol.
No, far from it.
And that's probably the best thing about Celebrate Recovery is it's not, I mean, if you go to some 12-step programs like the one I belong to, it's drugs or alcohol. In fact, it's mainly alcohol. There are people who are addicted to narcotics who may come to a alcoholic 12-step program, but they even have their own called narcotics.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but yours is codependency. So what I'm going to have you do today is I want you to explain codependency to me, because I'm not sure I understand exactly how that is. I know how it is when you are involved in alcohol. If I have a codependent for instance, and my wife was not a codependent, believe me, but if my wife had drank with me and partied with me and encouraged me to drink and didn't see any problems with my drinking, would you consider that a codependent?
No. A codependent is a person that enables you to have your bad behavior.
Enables you to have your bad behavior.
Yes. I struggle with a codependent basically breaks down to a person that takes care of everyone else at the detriment of themselves.
Okay.
It was my job to be the fixer in my family. It was my job to make sure everybody was taken care of and had what they needed. And it didn't matter if I went without or if my mental health wasn't in a good place at the time. If it exhausted me physically, it didn't matter. As long as they were taken care of, then I was okay.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit here, because what I try to do is I try to think of the questions that maybe a listener's having and they don't want to call in and they don't want to text, but they'd like me to ask the question. That sounds like me.
Yeah, you'd be amazed.
I try to take care of all these guys and young ladies that work here and the people that work with me. I never say for me, work with me. I'd do anything for Bob if he called. If he called, is that a portion that makes a difference? I mean, do you just walk into their lives no matter what's going on and try to fix it? Or do you have permission?
It can be both. It can be both.
Okay. So sometimes you're just a bull in a china shop and the other times you're asked for help. And when you're asked, I bet you're just giddy.
I used to be. I work very hard to stop and think, is this really something that I need to do?
I need to do? Mm-hmm. You probably used to say, this is something Bob needs, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
Where now you look at yourself first?
Yes.
Really?
So I don't overextend myself. I don't spread myself so thin, taking care of everybody else or giving to everyone else, that I don't have enough time to recharge my own batteries.
Okay.
Whether it's physically or emotionally.
All right. Well, we'll get into that. Now, you told me earlier you have 6 children.
I do.
And how many grandkids?
I have 2 grandchildren.
All right. If one of your older kids, how old's your oldest?
21.
21. If your 21-year-old was here and I asked her...
Him. I have one of each.
All right. I asked him, you have one of each?
Yeah. I have a 21-year-old son and a 21-year-old daughter.
All right. So if I asked either one of those kids, adults, I'm sorry, everybody younger than 80 is a kid to me.
Yeah.
How did you see mom's codependency? What do you think they might say? I know you can't read their mind, but what do you think they might say?
Well, my oldest son and I have talked about it quite a bit. And his biggest thing, he would say, actually recently we just had a conversation and he asked me to back off a little bit in an issue that he's struggling with and not be so voiceful in my support.
Okay.
Because he felt like I was being too codependent, trying to make it better for him.
And would he have had permission to say that to you 5 years ago?
Yes. I've always raised my children that as long as they're respectful in the way that they speak to me, they can share their feelings, their emotions, anything that they want to.
Okay. So in this scenario today, he asked you that and you obliged.
I did.
How would you have done that 5 years ago when you were suffering from this and not having the support you have through Celebrate Recovery?
I would have smiled and said okay and not done it.
You would have continued to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have followed his wishes.
Okay. And then when he came around again and said, Mom, you're doing it again, you'd say,
well, you're my kid. I care about you. I love you. I want to make sure you're okay.
All right. And now you would say,
all right, I'll back off.
What does that feel like to back off?
It's very difficult as a mom to step back and let him struggle. And it's very difficult to let him fall on his face. But I have to, because if I don't, he's never going to be able to take care of himself if I'm always rescuing him.
And it's not about him.
No.
No, it's not about him.
No, it's about me and making me feel better that I did this for him.
All right. Fascinating. Thank you for being here today. Hope Streeter is her name. 6 children, 2 grandchildren. She has been suffering from codependency all your life?
Yeah, since I was a small child.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I grew up with addicts.
Okay.
Both my mom and my dad were drug addicts. So it was always my job to take care of me and my brother and watch out for us.
Were you the oldest?
Yeah.
And you have a sibling that's younger.
I do. I have a brother that's 1 year younger than me, and then I have 2 sisters that are 10 and 17 years younger. Or no, 15 and 17 years younger.
And would those have been children that you cared for when they were babies?
I've had custody of both of my sisters at different times of their lives.
Okay. All right. So, but for the last 2 years, okay, now I say I've been clean and sober, or I've been sober for almost 6 years. What would you say? I've been
successful at keeping my codependency at bay. I don't let it overtake me.
At bay, you don't let it overtake you.
Yeah. Not that there's not moments, because there's always going to be moments that I'm going to struggle more than others, but I have to remind myself what is mine.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to hear from you the tools that you have when you realize that you're about to be too strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too supportive.
All right, too supportive, and the tools that you have. And obviously, Jesus is a part of your life.
Yes, very much so.
He's probably the number one tool in your tool belt.
Yes.
And I want to hear about that. This is a Christian radio station, so we can say Jesus all we want and it's acceptable. If I say it on another radio station, sometimes I get sideways. I get looked at.
That's just crazy.
Well, that's the PC world we live in. It's sad, but it is. All right, we're going to take a break now, and we'll come back. Hope Streeter is her name. 6 kids, 2 grandkids. She's got her codependency under wraps. No, how'd you say it? At bay for 2 years now. And we're going to talk to her more about codependency. You're welcome to call in and ask a question, 244-0077, or text at 809-0993. It's the truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for the opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
21 minutes after the hour, 18th day. If you're hearing this on another date than that, it's being played during the best of, probably a holiday, maybe. Although today's a holiday, but I just wanted to come to work today. You know, probably for you, I came to work today.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and I do mean that as a compliment. I think if I hadn't had a special guest booked, Frank or Chris or Bob could have done the show. But when Melissa told me that you were going to come on the show, I said, well, there's a reason to go to work today.
There you go.
All right. The fascinating story, and I'm going to try to let you have as much information, or I said Hope will try to let you have as much information as you want. By the way, I do ask my guests on the recovery show if there's any questions they don't want me to ask. Let me know now, and I won't ask them. I completely respect them. Hope, like most people, said, nope, you can ask me anything. Everything's okay. Hope has been... has had her codependency at bay. That's how you put it. Okay. Is that like a real term, at bay?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I meant like within the cover.
Oh, no.
That's just your term.
That's my term.
Okay.
That's my term.
Would it be fair to say that your codependency has been in remission for 2 years?
You could.
Okay.
You could.
6 kids, 2 grandkids. She suffers from codependency, which she says codependency enables you to have your bad behavior.
Yes. So I was codependent on my husband because I enabled him to continue his bad behavior by not speaking up and standing up for myself.
Okay.
So it was my job to take care of him and take care of everything else, regardless of what he was doing.
Okay. Which isn't possible.
No.
All right, so let's go back a little bit. Where's home?
I'm born and raised Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. What high school?
East High School is where I attended.
Okay. Why did you say it that way?
Because I dropped out when I was 17.
Okay.
And I got married to an older man.
Okay.
Moved to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Yep. My first husband was in the military.
Okay.
So had a baby right after I turned 18. And by 19, I was divorced and living back in Iowa.
Oh, my heavens. Did you get married because you were pregnant?
No, I got married, as I've discovered years later, to get away from my family.
My mom and dad, yeah.
Yeah, to just get away from the chaos. And I just lost my high school sweetheart. He went into the Navy and was gone, and I needed to get away.
Yeah. Now, your mother and father, your father passed away.
Yes.
Your mother is still living.
Yes, my biological mom lives somewhere in Missouri.
But you have no relationship with her?
No, I haven't had any relationship with her for over 7 years now.
And that's to protect yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Because why?
She lives in her own alternate reality.
Okay.
She's very emotionally manipulative.
Oh.
She goes from one extreme of I'm a great daughter to I'm a selfish, spoiled little brat.
Okay. And does she have any contact with your kids?
No.
No. And that's their choice or hers?
Both.
So everybody's happy with the fact that they don't have a relationship with each other.
Right. My grandma is the grandma that my kids have a relationship with.
Your grandma?
My grandma. Their great grandma. She's 82.
All right. So this would be your mom's mom?
Stepmom.
Your mom?
I didn't grow up with biological family. So my biological mom's stepmom is the grandma that I grew up with on that side of the family.
And that great grandmother has something to do with her great grandkids.
Yes.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, she takes my 3 youngest, who are 5, 3, and 2, every Saturday for a couple of hours so I can run errands or do housework without them underfoot.
And she's how old?
82.
Wow.
Still lives on her own, takes care of herself.
Now, you said you have 2 kids 21 years of age. Were they twins?
No. Our daughter, Rachel, didn't come to us till she was 16.
So she's a foster child or adopted?
Yeah, we just took her in and she became ours.
All right. And then go down the list for me.
Then our son, Tyler, is 16.
Okay.
Then we have 3 younger boys that are 5, 3, and 2.
All right. Now, how many husbands?
2.
All right. The one that you had the one baby with.
Right.
Which is your son.
Yes.
And then
my husband now, we have the last 4 boys are ours together.
So you had 17 years ago, you had a son, and then you waited 11 years to have another.
Well, not intentionally. We
Okay.
tried to get pregnant and have another child. We did medication, endometriosis surgery, nothing worked. And then I finally said, okay, that's it. I'm done. And then we went out for his 35th birthday and had a lot of fun, and I got pregnant. Then I couldn't stop.
Good for you. All right. So, and you have a great relationship with all these children?
Yes.
Okay. See, because I've got 4 kids, and I always say I have 3 that talk to me.
No, they all talk to me.
And the one that does, they just take turns being the one that doesn't talk to me. Yeah. I mean, I never thought I was a bad dad. Thought I was an awesome dad, but I wasn't a very good dad.
Yeah.
I never got involved in what my children were interested in. I required them to be interested in what I was involved with.
That was my husband.
Yeah. So they were behind stage at every Reba McEntire, Garth Brooks, Aerosmith concert that there was. But I'll be honest with you, I don't ever remember doing homework. Sad.
Yeah.
But it's the way it is. That's what being messed up between the ears is. All right, so we're talking about codependency. And codependency, when you're codependent, you enable other people to have bad behavior.
Yes.
All right. You also try to fix everything.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't that just being nosy?
No.
Okay.
No. Being nosy is just wanting to know everything that's going on.
Okay.
Being codependent means that it's your job to fix everything that's wrong.
And you really feel that.
Yes. Yes, it's
I mean,
my responsibility.
You just don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, it's Monday. I think today I'll be responsible for everything.
No,
That is a 24/7, buttons always on.
Yes.
Okay. How do you think you became codependent? Have you been able to trace that back?
Yeah.
Okay, how?
Yeah, I have. When I was 8 years old, we had a house fire, and my 5-year-old brother passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And after that, my biological mom was never a mom to us again. And my dad got deeper into his drugs. And I had to take care of me and my brother. It was my job to make sure that we got something to eat. It was my job to make sure that we got to school and got dressed.
And he was 1 year younger than you.
Yeah.
And how old were you at the time? You said you were 8.
I was 8 at the time when it started.
So you had a house fire and one of your siblings died?
Yeah. He passed away from smoke inhalation.
I'm so sorry. Did you hear about that family in Boxholm yesterday?
No.
Yeah, Boxholm, which is just out Boone County. Dad's at work. He's a jailer. Midnight, Saturday night, they had a space heater on, try to keep the house warm, and a mother and 3 children perished.
Oh, my.
They found them huddled together in a porch, and they couldn't get to them. The fire was just out of rage. They didn't have enough water. They kept running out of water. Can you imagine the father?
My dad tried to go back in the house to get my youngest brother repeatedly and ended up with 3rd degree and 4th degree burns over a majority of his body.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't stop himself from going back in.
How did losing that child that way? How old was this boy?
He was 5.
He was 5. How losing that child did it affect your dad?
My dad held on tighter to my brother that survived.
Okay.
He was deeper into his drugs to numb his pain.
Okay.
And he was a lot more protective of me for some reason.
Protective of you. Well, that was good.
Yeah.
Or no?
Well, I didn't see a lot of the things that my brother saw growing up. I was protected from different things that he would go do because I wasn't allowed to go with my dad. So I was sheltered and protected from a lot of what he did away from home, but what happened at home, I wasn't.
And what was that like? Was that violent?
My parents were never violent with each other, but there were drug deals done in our home on a daily basis. There were crazy people that came in and out of our home.
Yeah.
We had one time a drug deal gone bad, and I was holding a baby. I was probably about 11 years old, and the mom come running out of my parents' room for the baby, and a guy came after her with a knife and almost slit my throat because I was holding the baby and got in his way. Just crazy things
normal.
like that. That was normal. Yeah.
That was normal.
That was normal.
Hope Streeter is our guest. She's had codependency at bay. That's the term we're using, at bay, for over 2 years now. 6 kids, 2 grandkids. Now, you have a lady with you here today.
Yes.
And we won't make her say on the radio. You can if you want. But you introduced me to her as your mom.
Yes.
But this isn't your biological mom.
No. She's been my mom since the day my dad died.
And he died in when?
1997.
And how did that... I mean, that's kind of strange. Your dad dies and you get a mom.
Well, growing up, Debbie was always there with us in the background. She would come over and...
Neighbor?
No, her and my dad were friends. My dad had helped her out with a certain situation. And then she would come over and see us and bring us little treats or clothes. She's a garage sale queen. So she'd always find great deals and bring us little things. And then as I got older, we got closer. And then when my dad died, it was... very difficult for me because my dad had made his amends with me and I had learned to love him and accept him for who he was and not who I wanted him to be.
Good.
And she was there quietly supporting me the entire time, and we've gotten she's my mom. I mean, she does everything a mom does.
And your kids are her grandkids,
yep.
And et cetera, et cetera. Well, Debbie, you're a good woman. Jesus loves you. You already knew that, didn't you? Okay. She said, yes, it did. All right. I'm just fascinated by this story. I appreciate it so much. And one of the reasons I appreciate it is because dysfunctionality in a family is in every family.
Yes.
And when we talk about that dysfunction, it helps other people. There's somebody listening to this right now who's going, oh my gosh, that's me.
Yes.
That's me. And then they're going to hear how you were able to overcome some of those issues and how you're handling it now. And I said something about Jesus loving your mom. I know that you have a relationship with the Lord.
Yes, I do.
How does that work for you in your codependency?
Well, with Celebrate Recovery, it's Christian-based.
Yes.
So every Thursday, regardless of what's going on, I go to see her.
Okay.
I don't miss for any reason.
Okay.
And except for having a grandchild. I had a grandson born on Thanksgiving. So
okay.
I missed that Thursday. But we go in and we sing songs and we read the principles, which are based off the Beatitudes or the 12 steps that have the biblical comparisons that go with them. I go and involve myself as much as I can, go into services on the weekends, doing different activities with the church to learn more and to dive deeper into my relationship.
You said earlier that Jesus is a tool that you use.
I do. I pray.
Okay, you pray.
I pray.
Do you ever feel yourself, I'm going to do something here, and so then I talk to Jesus?
I do.
Okay.
I feel like, I'm on that line of being helpful and being codependent. So I just pray and I ask him to guide me and to help me to not cross that line because it's very thin.
Yeah. I have what I call the feces committee in my head. And it starts telling me that I'm no good and that I need to do something about it and God's not proud of me and I'm not lovable and all those things. And one of the things I do is I take my index finger and I flip my right earlobe and I flip it out and I say, in the name of Jesus, just get out of my head. Jesus, just come, just help push those voices out of my head. Those voices are not of you. There's nothing holy about those voices. Those voices are from the accuser, trying to once again fool me, tell me that I'm not something that you say I am. Because Jesus says I'm a great dad. Jesus says I'm a wonderful husband. Jesus says I'm a good brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
God and Jesus would never say anything other than those things to you. And if you're hearing voices in your head and you think it's God that says, you're not the best mom around or you're not the best brother around, it isn't him. You know that? I mean, that's the one. I don't know a lot about theology, but that's the one thing I can guarantee you. If you feel shame, that comes from the accuser. If you feel blame, that comes from the accuser. If you're worrying, that means you're saying to God, I don't think you can handle this. So me and the accuser are going to take care of it. All right, we're coming back. Hope Streeter is her name. Her story continues here live on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
.438, 22 minutes for the top of the hour. Hank the Bible Answer Man coming up next hour. You know, the other day I was going to call in to Hank the Bible Answer Man Thursday after our show.
Really?
I got to go to Perry and speak to the Perry Amateur Radio Club, which was great. These are great guys. They're going to come in and do a show about the lives that they've impacted by helping other people through ham radio.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so Hank was talking about something interesting, so I tried to call in. Busy. I mean, I don't know. I could look at my phone. I bet I tried 12 times. It was always busy. So the only reason I say that is I always tell you about this time of the day, you should call in and be put on hold. It's a toll-free number. It doesn't matter, but you won't get in. 1-888-ASK-HANK. 1-888-ASK-HANK.
Do you think because maybe he didn't have enough lines?
No, I think it's a coast-to-coast show. I think he's probably got, we've got 6 lines. I bet he's got the double bank, which is probably 12. That's what they've got down at News Radio 1040 WHO. So I imagine he's got that many. But, you know, you can only take so many calls and have a good conversation. And Hank allows you to unpack. A lot of talk show hosts, well, what's your question? Well, in 2 Corinthians, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, thank you. Let me answer you. And then they hang up and they answer, and maybe they don't get it answered. I can't let a listener go like that. I've got to say, did that make sense? And then they always, most of the time, they say no. All right, let me try again. All right, you have a comment on the Service Legends text line, the Truth text line at 809-0993.
All right, the question is: do codependents have to have or need to have a relationship to be happy?
You don't have to have a significant other to be happy. Codependency can be on anyone. I was codependent on my brother for many years. It was always my job when he would get in trouble and get out to have him come live with me, buy him clothes, feed him, take care of him, because I was the oldest. And I don't do that anymore.
But now, isn't there some kind of guilt associated with that if you're turning somebody away because you don't want to encourage their behavior?
I did. It was very, very difficult for me to look at my brother and tell him that he can't come to my home anymore. I can't have the behavior that he chooses in my home or around my kids. But the more it continues and the more I pray about it and I think about it, the more I know it's the best choice for him, because I'm not letting him think that what he does is okay with me. I love him and I see him periodically. He lives a block and a half away from me, but he doesn't come to my home and participate in family events or anything like that, because it's not good for either one of us.
Right.
And he gets it.
Yeah. Good. So he doesn't make you feel bad.
No, he never makes me feel bad about anything. My brother and I have a great relationship when it comes to being able to talk with each other.
You just got some good, strong boundaries.
Yes.
Hope Streeter is our guest. We're going to continue to talk to her. I do want to give you some breaking news. Glenn Fry, the leader of the Eagles, the band The Eagles, has passed away. Glenn Fry was 67 years old. One of my favorite singers. Wow. I'll be going home listening to some Glenn Fry tonight. All right, Hope is here, and we're talking about codependency. And so you'd think my friends would know that I'm on the radio?
Well, you'd think everybody would know that not to call me Thursday night, because I've been at CR for the last 2 years, but they call me Thursday nighs.
Right. All right. I should have answered that live on the air is what I should have done.
There you go.
I used to answer my request lines, Urbandale Police Department, Sergeant Brown, and you'd be amazed at some of the things people would say. All right, you just talked about your little brother.
Yes.
Who is now, this is the one that's 1 year young. She's calling me again. Should we put it on speakerphone here? Let's just have some fun. Hi, Cody.
Hi, how are you?
Good. You're live on the radio because you decided to call me twice in the middle of my show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
When you're done?
I'll call you when I'm done. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Tell everyone hello.
Okay, you just did. Bye. That may make me a bad radio guy. I don't know.
No.
I think life ought to be put on the radio.
There you go.
No matter what's happening. I certainly talk about things that are negative in my life, but I just know somebody out there, God's going to bring somebody to that radio that at that very moment was challenged by something that he already given me the answer to. And I get to pass it on, and they go, oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
I bet you Cody never calls me between 3 and 5 again.
I imagine not.
I love Cody's one of our, when I say adopted, I don't mean legally. I think you probably understand this, but she's one of our adopted daughters. Yeah. All right. So you talked about your brother, and he doesn't require you to be codependent with him any longer.
Correct.
Did he 5 years ago? And I know you've had this.
He didn't require. He would just always ask, I'm getting out of jail. Can I come back?
You're what?
I'm getting out of jail. Can I come back and live with you?
Oh my.
And
you'd say, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And then he'd have bad behavior.
Yep.
And that was bad for your kids and your marriage and everything else.
Yeah. And then he would leave, and then the cycle would start all over again.
How long have you and your husband been together?
We have been together 18 years.
18 years. And so you've got 4 kids between the two of you. Or no, you've got they're all your kids.
Right.
You and your husband together have 4 biological children.
Correct.
Okay. Phew. You'd think I could I'm in radio, Bob. Just step up anytime and beat me over the head. All right. The Service Legends Truth Text line is open, 515-809-0993. Also, phone lines if you'd like to ask Hope a question, 515-244-0077. So when did your codependency really work well so you were encouraged to continue to do it?
I was always encouraged to do it because everyone let me do everything.
But when did you... Okay, maybe I'm not asking the right question. You had to have these incredible euphoric moments in which you were congratulated, you were paid off. I don't know what the right... You were rewarded emotionally for being codependent.
Yes.
And what were those moments like?
I always felt like I made a difference, that I was important, I was needed.
Where does your concept that you're not needed come from, for heaven's sakes? You raised your little brother. You You were always needed, weren't you? From the time you were 8 or under?
I was, but I didn't grow up. I knew that my dad loved me. I just didn't know on a daily basis where I fell in his list of priorities.
Okay.
So I didn't always feel like I was needed or wanted.
Tough question.
Okay.
How much of that was his fault?
How much of that was his fault?
Yeah. He's dead, so
he's dead.
You're not going to hurt his feelings.
No. And I had a great relationship with my dad. I could say anything I wanted to him.
Okay.
And it didn't faze him.
Okay.
I would say I learned my codependency behavior from my dad because he was the go-to guy for all his friends.
Okay.
He was the Mr. Fix-It man.
Yeah.
And he never said no.
Okay.
So I learned to never say no and just help everyone.
Okay.
So I learned it from him because that's what he did.
Okay. And you didn't mind it?
No.
When did you figure out it was a problem?
2.5 years ago, my therapist recommended that I go to a meeting for family members of addicts. And I went to Lutheran Church of Hope, and it was on a Saturday night, and there's no childcare.
Okay.
And I didn't trust my husband to stay home with our kids. And getting childcare for 3 small boys is...
not easy.
Yes, no, not easy. So one of the ladies in there told me about Celebrate Recovery. And she told me there was free childcare, there was free dinner. I said, okay, when do I go? That's all I needed.
When? And she said Thursday nights at 6 o'clock.
And I came that next Thursday, and I've been there ever since.
And by being around other people who have also have their codependency in remission or at bay, you learned that your codependency was not beneficial to you.
Yes, I've learned so much from being around other women that can understand where I'm coming from. You know, other women of addicts that are codependent, other women that have struggled with always having to take care of everybody, but they don't take care of themselves. So they understand me better than anybody else who hasn't been in that situation.
Now, you said other women. Men can be codependent too.
Oh,
right?
yes. We have a codependency group for men now.
But the women work with the women and the men work with the men. That's smart. All right. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, how's life now for Hope? We'll talk to her. She's in Celebrate Recovery. It's every Thursday night. I think the meal actually starts at 5:15. Food goes to 6:15, and then service starts at 6:30. We're coming back live here on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
4:50, 10 minutes before the top Salem Radio Network news, and then Hank, the Bible Answer Man, 1-888-ASK-HANK. And at 8 o'clock tonight, Steve Dace, live right here from Des Moines on the Salem Radio Network. That, by the way, is Salem SRN. Salem Radio Network. Steve's on about every station that Salem has, and also here on The Truth. So we're thankful for that. My guest is Hope Streeter. She is she is what I would say 2 years sober from being a codependent, not drinking, not drugs. That would be my language. That for 2 years she has been able to keep her codependency at bay. And she defined that being a codependent means you enable people to have bad behavior and you try to fix everything. What are some of the tools you use?
Well, Celebrate Recovery. I go every Thursday. The support that I get from the women there are phenomenal. I use my accountability partners when I feel like I'm on the line that I might do something that's a little bit codependent.
Okay.
My sponsor, I talk to her about it.
Okay.
I talk to my counselor. And like I said earlier, I pray a lot. I'm the lady driving down the road talking to herself because I'm talking to God while I'm driving down the road.
How long have you been like that? Were you right? My guess is you weren't raised in a church.
No, I wasn't raised in a church. I was raised Catholic Baptist from different, different sides of the family.
Wow, that's a leopard in the group of kitties.
Yeah, different sides of the family. My family that I grew up with were Catholic. And then I always went to Baptist churches that were close to home.
Okay.
So I would go, but we never had an active church life at all.
For your kids or anything?
No, not until I started at Celebrate Recovery.
Now, if I can say, you're a little declef right now. You're a little emotional.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Celebrate Recovery to me saved my marriage.
Okay.
It saved me. I know. I can honestly say if it wasn't for Celebrate Recovery, I would be a divorced mom.
Now, is Celebrate Recovery and Jesus interchangeable in that sentence you just said?
Yes.
That Jesus saved my life if it hadn't been for Jesus? Because you didn't have, I don't know the answer to this. Did you have a personal relationship with him 5 years ago?
Not as intimate as I do now.
Okay.
I mean, I always say it was by the grace of God that I turned out the way I did because I did not have the role models.
Yeah, that's true. You did good.
I didn't follow the path. I don't do drugs. I don't drink in excess. I was the one that was telling my dad's friends I was going to grow up and become a cop and put him in jail.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't want anything to do with what was going on in my home.
Yeah. That's interesting. What advice do you give to other people who have listened to you today and they have related to your story?
If you can relate to codependency struggles or you can relate to having any kind of a hurt that you need to work on, come to Celebrate Recovery. That was my first step to getting my relationship with Christ.
Yeah, by the way, it's free.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, you can't beat it. You get free childcare, you get a free dinner, and you get 2 solid hours that you get to be yourself. And you learn that we're all born broken because we're all born sinners, and how broke we get depends on ourselves. How hard are we going to work at what God has intended for us? And some days we'll be more broke than others.
How did you find Celebrate Recovery?
My counselor recommended that I go to the meeting for family members of addicts, and the lady in the group there told me about it.
So you were going for counseling. You were looking for help.
Yes. I was going to counseling for postpartum depression.
I see.
I didn't know about the codependency until I went to the first meeting.
Yeah, you had just had your youngest child then,
I did.
And you were going through postpartum depression.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very difficult.
What does postpartum depression feel like?
For me, it was overwhelming. I didn't function well. I did just the minimum of what had to be done. I slept a lot. I cried a lot. I didn't want to be around people. I didn't feel like I was being a good mom.
Where does that, do you know where that comes from now?
Well, I have depression to begin with.
Okay.
So postpartum depression for me has happened with every pregnancy.
Okay.
Because I come off my depression medication while I'm pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Because nothing's been proven safe. So I come off of it. Or I came off of it when I was pregnant.
And then did you get back on it?
I did.
but that didn't help.
Not at first, because it has to be in your system for a while.
Okay.
And talk therapy has always been really good for me.
Talk therapy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's why one of the things I love about Celebrate Recovery is I have women there that I can talk to, and I know it's confident. I know it's going to stay there, and they're going to understand it.
Now, you lead this group.
I lead the newcomers.
Oh, you lead the newcomers.
Yep.
So when you go into the codependency group, you're just one of the codependents.
Well, I've led newcomers for the last year.
Okay.
So I'm the one that the first time women come, they come into my group, and I tell them a mini testimony about myself so they know where I came from, what I've been through.
Now, are these newcomers to codependency or newcomers to Celebrate Recovery?
Newcomers to Celebrate Recovery.
Okay.
And then I let them know about, we have 4 groups for women right now.
Okay.
So
what are those 4 groups?
We have physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. We have codependency. We have chemical dependency. And then we have general recovery for anything that doesn't fall in those categories.
Chemical dependency with drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just can't thank you enough. You've really helped me understand codependency. And just know that you help somebody else too. We don't always get the sign of that. We don't always get the email or the letter, or I'll run into somebody where they say, oh man, when Hope was on that day, that really helped me. But I just know, I guess I know inside that when we do these, by the way, the name of this show is actually Restoring Hope Live.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that is the name of this show. We used to do it every Monday afternoon, and then it was syndicated nationally. And now we don't do it as often because I wait for Melissa to send me the really good ones.
Oh, well, thank you.
And so you were really good.
Yeah.
But thanks for taking the time to unpack it. Somebody out there heard something they need. I just don't think God gives us an opportunity to have the stories that you and I have, and we have this natural ability and desire to share it. And so I think like BBs to a magnet, all those people that needed to hear about codependency and needed to hear about your life heard about that today.
Well, thank you.
So thank you very much for coming. And Debbie, you're a wonderful mom. Thanks for being there, all right? And I will tell you that Celebrate Recovery could change your life. Oh, I know it's there, and I know what they do, and I know it will change lives. But that's up to you to take the first step. Thousands of people walk into recovery meetings every week. For them, they've done it over and over. For some people, like a gentleman today in my noon hour class, my noon hour meeting, he was first time. Oh, he used to be one of us, and then he went out to do a little more R&D to see if he could drink normally. And he couldn't, and he's 14 days sober. You only have to walk in once, and then you're welcomed. And you won't believe the outpouring of love and, most importantly, grace you'll receive at a Celebrate Recovery meeting at Lutheran Church of Hope. Thursday nights, 5:15. We hope you're there. Until then, do me a favor. Tonight, go home, forgive somebody. It's what we're commanded to do. And then we get a gift. As we forgive, we shall be forgiven. I'll see you at church.